this time we're in France for the four-wheel drive large-scale off-road EFRA European Championships. But this show basically is 100% devoted to these huge large-scale two-stroke gasoline-powered vehicles, because we're also in Latvia with HPI racing at the FIA World Rallycross event, where race drivers and fans will compete to lay down their fastest lap with an awesome HPI Baja SC. But first, let's see how the pros do it in the main final with our commentator, John Hindhoff.
Samba Exhaust, HPI Racing and Graphil Body bring you the EFRA European four-wheel drive large-scale off-road finals. The Dutch and the French sharing the front row. There's three of each in the grid, with Tim van der Elst on pole from Jeroen Sartel in second. Then it's Nick Visser in third, Kleinmans in fourth, Junikel Gandino in fifth, Schweinzer in sixth, Kellerman in seventh, Puziat in eighth, Dario Veseli from Croatia in ninth, and rounding up the top 10, Maxwell Sauber. Half an hour of racing to go, no pit stops. It's a sprint to the checkered flag, and we are off and racing. And Tim van der Elst in the green gets away. And this track has been really developing all the way through, and already a problem for Visser. He's gone over. Well, when I say developing, these cars have ripped this track apart. They're big, they're powerful, they're heavy, and they've taken the top surface off in many places, and you can see just how hard it is to try and keep these buggies on the straight and narrow, to the point the guys aren't even flying the middle whoops anymore now. The speeds here nowhere near what we were seeing in the heats earlier on. Van der Elst then from Kleinmans in second. Number 4 car coming through there after the issues of Sartel and Visser in the early laps. Now we'll keep an eye on the lap times here, but I'm not expecting to see anything like what we saw in the qualifiers. You can see just really having to pick their way through there. Patrick Schweinzer coming through there. Oh, Puziat as well going through. Puziat going through there. He's had a great couple of laps. Valentin Puziat from France in the multicoloured buggy there. He started on position 8. White and pink is Jeroen Sartel, his countrymen. And coming through now. The leaders have gone through. Oh dear. See, now I'm not very good at this, but I know that that wasn't the right line through the final corner. Lap times here, a good 3 or 4 seconds off what we saw earlier on in the weekend. These are hugely powerful machines, and we're 13 kilos, 13 kilos, and are ripping the top surface to shreds, these four-wheel drive versions in particular. Now, Sartel sitting there in the pink car, and Dario Veseli in the blue and orange goes through. That's the number 9. 2012 European champion, loses it, but we'll get it back. He's got position on the inside. I have no clue how these guys are tracing a racing line in any way, shape or form, because literally every part of the track has been dug up. It's providing a great challenge, and Veseli there right on the berm on the outside, riding the cushion in dirt track terms, and actually got a decent run there. It's dusty, it's hot, it's difficult to keep the buggies pointing in the right direction. How anybody's tried it to get a setup for this, I've no clue. It's a finger in the air job, and this is all going to be down to the skill of the drivers. This is reacting, every lap is different. Fantastic stuff there from the top guys coming out the final corner, actually drifting the buggies through, when really you'd expect them to do that on much smoother conditions. Marvellous stuff. So the leaders then, still Van der Elst out front in the green and white. He'll catch a shot, and there he is. He's coming under a little bit of pressure from the yellow of Michael Kleinmans, the second of the Dutchman. Veseli in third, the Croatian driver, and almost got a little bit of drive there. And just hanging up on the inside, a little bit too much ditch hooking there for Kleinmans. The old rally trick of trying to hook the wheel over the inside and drag yourself round, but he just caught himself up and has cost him second position. Notice at the moment how Veseli, in that blue and red machine in second place, the number 9, Notice how he's taking very different lines. He's not always going to the inside of the corner. Now clearly the inside of the corner's been used more, so there's likely to be bigger holes there. And I think this is a smart move by Vesely, so long as he can actually keep it pointing in the right direction, which he just about did there. That wasn't shortcutting the track, but you can see he's exploring much more the outer edges than our leader, who is still there. The dust beginning to become a problem now, as it's blowing across the circuit and towards the driver's stand. And visibility will be an issue now. So, on the middle part of the circuit, no pit stops here. These buggies are capable of doing the full half an hour without any pit stops. And this is the battle for the lead. Vesely now having, if he's going to challenge, he's having to go onto pieces of the circuit that he wasn't going on before here, putting pressure on Tim van der Elst through the final corner, side by side for a moment, onto the main straight. Good drive by the second position driver, just held off there I felt for a moment. Could have gone down the inside, but it would have put him in a landing area that he didn't want to be. Got himself in second, and at the moment tracking the leader. Fantastic driving from both. Now that's interesting. That's the first time we've seen van der Elst there go around the long way on the first of those middle hairpins. I wonder if he's learning a little bit where he can get a wee bit more grip. Oh, turned around, they've come together, and they're going to lose the lead there. That's Patrick Schweinzer going through. That's Persiat. Persiat going through. So Persiat finds himself in second position. Valentin Persiat on the multicoloured machine there, the Frenchman. And immediately, I see again, just want to fly that big jump at the end of the start-finish straight. Interesting, isn't it, the tactics here? Oh, the leader's gone! And he's gone in a very big way. Seconds followed him off through into the lead then. Well, that's amazing stuff. Vesely now from 9th position from Nick Visser. That is Nick Visser, is it? Yes, it is. The orange. And I think Sartell is back up into third. Yes, he is. With the pink rear end on his book. So that was, he caught the top. And look, a different type of accident behind. One didn't go far enough, one went too far. End result, both of them over and out of the running at the front of the field for the moment at the lead. So we'll take a breath then, as our leaders are at the scene of the crime. Oh, and that's caught another one out. And that is Vesely's gone now. So Nick Visser, who started in third place, there's the big number 3 on the side, giving his grid position on the orange and white. Even with the dust here, relatively easy to pick that one out. Thank goodness. Thanks, Nick, for that. But just look at how difficult these jumps are getting. The guys were flying those jumps earlier in the weekend. They just daren't do it now because they don't know what they're landing on. Marvellous stuff. Just the line at the end of the lap. And the lap time's a good 5 seconds from what we expect. But this is survival at this point. As Visser then. Sartell battling for second and third. For third and fourth. No, I was right the first time. Second and third. And it's 2 and 1 battling for 2 and 3. Bit of sideways contact that, but that's fine. Still the number 2 holding on. Sartell, Frenchman. We've seen before, have we not? Van der Elst just being a little bit canny on his tactics. Time beginning to run out though, so he's got to start thinking about getting further up the front of the field if he wants to be EFRA European 4-wheel drive large-scale off-road champion for this year. Our coverage coming to you with Samba Exhaust, HPI Racing and Graphil Bodies. And these two are providing the entertainment at the moment. Thankfully, I think the wind's changed just a tiny bit and it's taking the dust away as we've got side-by-side action for second place, and that's a textbook move by Van der Elst, who goes down the inside absolutely clean as you like. Everybody going home from here tonight with a nice little covering of the circuit on them, as these big, heavy, powerful buggies are kicking up the dust here Now there's our leader, Nick Visser, who's looking a bit ragged all of a sudden and coming under pressure from our pole sitter, Tim van der Elst. It really is all going to be... Oh, van der Elst is gone! Now, look how big that buggy is, 13 kilos. That's when you realise how big some of these holes in the tracks are when you see the guys picking them up. I could see the front end moving, but I think he's got steering damage there. It looked as though one of the wheels was flicking around, but the other wasn't, so he might have done a steering arm there. And trust me, these buggies are built for extreme conditions, and we are seeing them having to cope with the very, very most extreme that I've seen in a European Championship final. So this now, the battle for the lead, which has just gone away from the number 3 of Nick Visser, who's gone as well. No way! And takes out one of the other runners further back down the field. And in fact, our leader just stalled there for a moment in the pink and white, Jerome Sartell. So that is Valentin Persiat back in the lead again. What a topsy-turvy race. I'll remind you that Persiat started in 8th position. We've had Vesely in 9th, leading at one stage as well. And that is Vesely in 3rd position. So grid 8 from grid 3, from grid 2 and from grid 9. That will tell you what a topsy-turvy race this has been.
Still to come, awesome HPI Baja SC action at the FIA World Rallycross Championship in Latvia. But first, it's back to John.
Man, these buggies are going to need a good blowout of air when they get back. They're going to be full of dust. This is the part for me that has just changed its character right over the weekend as the leader goes too wide there. And that is number 2 rather, back into the lead. Goodness, Vesely goes through into 2nd. So 2 changes there, 1st down to 3rd in half a lap for Valentin Persiat. But I mean, you'd never say this was over, and indeed it's not. Can he do round the outside? He has! Brilliant stuff from Vesely, who leads, and over goes Jerome Sartell. Oh my goodness. Well, the highlights reel of this one is going to be pretty much the whole race, and the leader's off again. Oh, he's got to be careful there, cutting the track. Think he'll get away with it. The referees sensibly being relatively lenient here. I don't think he gained any ground there. The state of the circuit playing a part. Extraordinary. Really is brilliantly driven by these guys. So, I mean, the lap times are down, but they are still relatively consistent, which I find remarkable. They are doing such a good job here. Vesely from Croatia leads it. Persiat back into 2nd. And remember, this is 9th and 8th. Oh, and he's gone. Just didn't quite get the fly. Oh, the leader's gone as well. So he's straight back. And somewhere in the dust there, Jerome Sartell's come back through into 2nd position. This is our camera that's facing upwind, and so doesn't get so much of the dust. Everywhere else, and I can tell you, looking out the commentary box window here, it is very dusty indeed. It's hanging in the air here as they come through into the midfield, and again there's a mistake, and 1st and 2nd come together, and Vesely then gives up the lead to Jerome Sartell, and Persiat back in 3rd. Oh, just roll the dice here. It could be any one of these 3. It could be any one of the guys that are still running at the moment. Never know whether these guys are going to disappear off the side of the circuit. And as you can see from the marshals, there's some quite big drops at the side of the circuit. Some of those marshals, you can't see their legs. It's so far down. Leading trio then attack that first yump. Brilliant stuff. Oh, there's the leader over again. Lots of grip and then airborne, and well, that's a shortcut. Yeah, smart thing to do. Okay. Very, very smart thing to do. As we've got now back in the lead, Vesely from Sartell from Persiat. Valentin Persiat The Frenchman there, just going off the track, realised he wouldn't get away with shortcutting that much of the circuit. But I think he did the right thing in using his momentum to get back out of that hole and onto the circuit as quickly as he could. Now goes for second place down the inside. Haven't seen that done very much, and you can see why. The landing area after that first jump is horrible, but he held onto the inside line. We'll have the inside for this right-hander. It's forceful, but I think that's okay. Waiting to hear from our judges. Nothing coming. He was in position there. That was side-by-side contact, and I think that's all right. So up into second place for the number 8 Frenchman, Valentin Persiat. Now, what can he do about our leader, if anything? The back marker staying out of the way, as Vesely then is still putting on a decent pace. As I say, the lap times have gone out since the practice and qualifying sessions when the track looked very, very different to this, and he's hit one of the big holes again, and it just absolutely stopped him dead in his tracks. There's nothing wrong with his driving there. He just clipped the outside of one of the holes, and you can just see how hard it is. This is first and second, by the way. Surely this has got to be the hardest fought EFRA European four-wheel drive large-scale off-road final ever. They are in a real scrap. It's a scrap with the track as much as it is with their competitors here. Brilliant stuff. And amazing to me that we haven't seen more failures. I think 3 buggies now have been taken away back to the pits, but our leaders continue to set the pace. And even in the space of this final, the track is evolving and different lines needing to be used. It's a voyage of discovery every lap for the leader. It's every lap for everybody, because you can't take time to look at where anybody else is driving. You've really got to just learn where the grip is and where the holes aren't every single lap around. There's our leader, Vesely, Croatian driver, experienced, good to run at the front. Ahead of him is Tim van der Elst, I think, whose car is back running again, but about to go a lap down. He's already, in fact, if I look at the timing, he's already off the lead lap, so this will be another lap down. Doesn't really need to be getting involved in this. Van der Elst qualified on pole position, but had that steering issue, if you remember, early on, so has got out the way of our leader. So Vesely with that much of a gap back to Persiat in second place. Got the feeling that Persiat feels he can still catch the leader. He's certainly pushing on there, but the buggy jumping and bucking around on the difficult surface. Oh, nicely done. Got it back under control there before those 2 horrible whoops. If you're wondering why they aren't trying to fly those, they were earlier on, but it's just really too much of a gamble as to what you might land on the other side. Even just going airborne for the smaller yumps, never mind the whoops, is a real step into the unknown. And you can see that corner there. Oh, there's the big hole, and Persiat, has gone through. I was just going to point out that big hole there. We almost lose sight of the buggies in that, because it's getting deeper even through the course of this final, and there as well. Just watch Persiat this time as he goes through. Eases up, keeps the buggy on the ground. It's right under the outside. You can't use the standard racing line. Right up against the fence there, trying to find some. Look at the rocks! Look at the rocks and the stones being thrown out. Big hole there. Look at how they're almost disappearing. And here as well, the wide line now is the line. Another big hole there where they almost disappear. And there's that apex crater on that left-handed hairpin that cost the lead for Vesely last time around. But he's fought back well, you know. Here he comes. It's like falling off the edge of the world. I'm surprised the radio waves can get into some of those holes so that the guys can still control the cars. Back into another lap. Punishing for the equipment and for the drivers here. Concentration levels even higher than normal. This is the difficult part of the track where the 13 kilos are being pressed to the ground, and there it is! Another mistake, and through the inside line. Persiat made the mistake, looked like he might have held on the lead, but Vazelli goes through. And again, you cannot be offline there. It's like a brick wall there. You can see that there's only a couple of places now where you can actually get over that second whoops and try and offline there. Persiat lost out. So, looking at the time, we're on our last lap, I reckon, as Vazelli has Jerome Sartell, I think, in front of him. One of the early runners at the head of the field. In fact, no, it's not. It's Giudicelli Gandino. Doesn't need to lap that car, but doesn't need to get involved in his accident either. Look at the gap. It's decent. Vazelli is coming home from grid 9. Who had that one in the offer suite? Absolutely brilliant. Through the start finish now. And he is a very happy Croatian driver. Vazelli leads it from Persiat coming home in second. Then Sartell, Gandino, Sauer and Patrick Schweinzer for the top 6.
Congratulations to Dario Vazelli and indeed to Andreas Baccarou winning the inaugural HPI Baja Fast Lap Dirt Track event. And there's plenty more of that coming later in the series. But I'm afraid that's all we've got time for this month, so don't forget www.rcracing.tv for all the action all month, or of course we're back here on your favourite TV channel next month. Bye for now.